18th, 2020 St. Clair Shores City Council meeting to order. Mary, please call the roll.
Mayor Walby.
Here.
Councilmember Aisha.
Here.
Councilmember Kieran.
Here.
Councilmember
Present.
Councilmember Present. Councilmember Vitale.
Here.
And Councilmember Rubino asked to be excused.
Move to excuse.
Support. Moved by Councilwoman Rusi, supported by Councilman Frederick to excuse Pro Tem Rubino. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 2 is presentations. The first one up is the Women's Civic League Scholarship. Sarah, come on up. How are you this evening?
Good, how are you?
Very good.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. My name is Sarah DeDonatis, and I am the Vice President of the Women's Civic League of St. Clair Shores. The Women's Civic League is once again offering scholarships. Any student graduating in 2020 who is a St. Clair Shores resident or attends a St. Clair Shores school will be eligible for this for all the graduating students. Regardless of school attending, meaning public, private, homeschooled students will all be eligible. There are 2 prizes this year, one for 1,000 and one for 500. First place 1,000, second place 500. The essay is to be between 750 and 1,000 words. The essay question this year is pick 2 presidents, one Republican and one Democrat, who served as president between the years of 1890 and 1990. List 3 accomplishments for each during their term as president. Choose 1 accomplishment for each president and elaborate on why you feel this accomplishment is important. The applications are available through the website now, and the applicants can find all the details on those applications. Our website is www.wclscs.com. The deadline is Friday, March 27th of this year. Any questions from the council?
Ms. Rusi.
Oh, thank you. No question, just a comment. Having served as a judge for the scholarship competition for a number of years now, I just want to thank the Women's Civic League for all the work that it takes to put something like this on and the very generous scholarships that they're delivering to St. Clair Shores residents. This is a really nice thing. It's always really interesting to read the thoughts of the students who enter, and I hope we get some good essays this year.
Thank you very much for that. And yes, it's a lot of fun. Anybody can apply. It's non-gender specific. Even though we're a women's civic league, we do take everybody's applications. And
yep, and it's a blind judging
and
too.
It's blind, 100%.
We don't know who the student is, what,
right.
If they're male, female, what school they go to, anything like that.
No.
It's who, names, addresses, anything. When we get the essays, everything's blacked out.
Acted, 100%.
And it's a blind judging.
Yes, yeah, and it's, all we can see is their volunteerism, their answers to some of the application, and then even within the essay, if it states anything about them personally, that's redacted well, as long as it doesn't detract from reading the essay itself. So it's extremely impressive how well it's run, and it's a lot of fun to be part of it. So, any other questions?
Mr. Vitale?
Just another statement of appreciation for keeping the residents of the city civically engaged, as you've done for many, many years now.
Thank you.
I think we're a better city for that.
It's a labor of love.
Way to go.
Oh.
Yes, Kim.
And if someone wants to become a member of the Women's Civic League, how can they go about gaining the information to do so? Because we do need more members.
Yes, definitely. Just go to our website, www.wclscs.com, and there's all kinds of information on how to join and email addresses and things to contact the members.
Yep, we do the scholarship program, we do the Guns and Hoses,
Yes.
the annual softball game between police and fire, the Santa brunch, and when we have council and mayoral elections, we do the Meet the Candidates night. So it's really important to have people willing to volunteer and help out so we can make all these great things happen for the community.
Definitely, definitely. And we're seeing a lot of changes and helping out a lot of people. So,
Thank
and we are already planning for the Guns and Hoses, so we're very excited about that.
All right.
It's soon to be coming.
Fantastic. Sarah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Item B was the United States Census, the 2020 census, and They will be coming to the next meeting. Item 3 is audience participation. Mary?
There are none.
There are none. We do not have any bids, contracts, purchase orders, so we'll move to item 5, consent agenda.
Yeah, move to approve.
Support. Moved by Mr. Karen, supported by Mr. Frederick to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Updates and follow-ups from prior meetings. Mr. Copler, City Manager.
We have a few of those. Number one, the question regarding the apportionment study and the backup and how the hourly rates shape out. We did send out an email to that. Hopefully that met the request. I don't know if there was any further information on that you wanted. Very good. Item number 2, the water meter issue that was brought forward by Councilmember Rusi. We did reach out to the resident that had brought that concern forth, and we're supposed to be scheduling, and I'm not sure actually if they finalized that replacement of the water meter. But that's, so for that particular one, I think we're in pretty good shape. In looking in why there was the number of estimated reads kind of led to a larger discussion about, how many meters out there that need to be replaced. And I've been with Russ Miller as well as Terry Sosha to get a better handle on, the total number. And at any time, we're somewhere around 3 to 4% of our meters are not functioning and have to be replaced.
Now, replacing the whole meter or the battery
No,
inside?
it's actually the MTU for the most
Okay.
part, so it's just the transmitter that needs to be done. And this has been, I think, an ongoing issue, at least based upon my discussions with them, that there have been a number of issues with those. And I think in looking at how best to proceed, money has been put in place to do replacements. We actually, because of them are still under the original warranty, and I believe it's a 10 or 12-year warranty we have on those. So I'm still following up to understand those that we did send out to make sure we actually got the warranty back on those. So I'm still involved in that piece. But in terms of starting to address that backlog of meters that need to be taken care of, I know very shortly after I started inquiring, they reached out to, I think, 50 residents to start that process. And so we're going to be looking at it probably in chunks of 50 at all times. We're going to be at that number until we get them all replaced.
I'm just amazed that so many are having issues, given they're not that old. I would figure batteries would need to be replaced, things like that, but that's surprising.
So the warranties for these are really built around the life of the battery. So they are expected to last 10 or 12 years, depending. I mean, the ones that we had when I was in Lincoln Park, they were 10 years.
And that's what we were told when we first did the project.
So
Battery life, yeah.
it kind of, in theory, there's going to be a point in time where we're going to be spending our money replacing them because you run out of the original warranty. But I don't think we're there yet, and we shouldn't be there yet. So there's some more follow-up with the company, and with these projects. I mean, our project here sounds very similar to the project that happened in Lincoln Park, where it kind of had a couple different companies involved with it to get us to where we're at now. And there's some translation issues from one company to the next. So I think we're on the right path. It just needs to be a little bit more follow-up.
Definitely, we should be proactively dealing with this, identifying ones that do need replacement while we're still under warranty. I mean, given the fact that I don't know how many years we have left, we need to make sure that we make these claims while we can.
Yes.
So
Yeah, that's the
I'm
verification.
glad I brought the
trying to go through
issue
that.
up, because apparently there's been an issue when we need to make these claims while we have the warranty to take advantage of.
Just to tag something onto that, can we get maybe next week's or next meeting's follow-ups, once these go out of warranty, what our cost is going to be on these batteries? So we'd have some idea on that. I think this may be a case where battery technology is at a point that it's probably good enough that the manufacturer feels confident offering a 10-year warranty, knowing they're going to replace 25% of them before 10 years is up. That's probably where it's at. It's probably why we're not going to buy Tesla police cars anytime soon. But hopefully in the next go-around, battery technology gets better over where it was 10 years ago. So,
Sure. We'll get that.
And just to let you know, that cost runs between $80 and $120.
Okay, wow.
But I'll get the exact numbers for you.
For the battery, just the battery?
Yeah, that's just the MTU. Because
okay.
you're not replacing the battery on these, you have to replace the
whole
The entire unit.
Okay.
Yeah, they're kind of like an Apple, an iPhone, you don't get to replace the battery.
Well, you can try, but.
The Shady Lane issue, staff again has went out to try to talk with both the residents. They've left, again, requests for them to reach back to us so we can have that discussion, so that's still ongoing. And jumping down to the resident comments, again, I think there's emails that support the information that was requested by the residents.
Right, we were getting back to them regarding the home there. And
Yep.
Okay, a couple other follow-ups was Mr. Erie still working on St. Margaret?
Oh, yes, we had a.
Microphone.
I'm sorry. Yes, we are still working on it. Keep in mind, our role in this is as a blight case. The owner of the property is the estate, and they are working on this too. But there was a settlement conference or a court appearance on February 11th. I will report to council what occurred on that. I'm not sure. I was not at that one. One of the other attorneys from our office was. But yes, we are continuing to work to get one of the banks that has a lien on it to either abandon the property or turn it over to the city. That has not yet occurred.
And Chris, we are working on getting that pump over there on Lawrence, on the street, so we can hopefully get water off of Jefferson. And I know we were working on property there with St. Gertrude's.
With Lakeshore Senior Living, and we've
Yep.
come to an agreement with them, and we'll be putting that out to bid in the next 2 weeks, I suspect, on the pump station itself.
So a little bit of the holdup was exactly where it was going, but we have taken care of that. We have that confirmed that, and so now we're out to bid.
Correct.
Or we're going to be out to bid.
We will be going out
We've
to
done a
bid,
lot of
yes.
the design correct already,
Yes.
so that's good, but that's still probably at some time, right, we could be early fall. It may be Labor Day. I know it's February, but
Probably pretty close for construction. Yeah, to be done by then.
and the last item, we had our event on the lead service line, et cetera, February 6th. I thought we had a good turnout. We might have had close to 180 to 100 individuals there. I should have counted, but well representative from Great Lakes Water and from the county and from Eggle and yourself, Mr. Babcock, and I thought we provided a lot of information, and I can't say enough about how I think good job that our team is doing, our team being you and Brian, Russ, and also HRC. And so highlight that. The important is that lead service agreement that we're looking for. We did get many at that, which we were hoping to, so that we could start getting out to homes.
Yeah, so on that point, the last update I had, I think we had 121 agreements already turned back into us. And if you could, just real quick, so if for chance, you've lost your agreement, we're going to walk you through real quick how to get one offline, or you can obviously call either DPW or the city manager's office, and we can get a copy in your hands. So if you go to our website and you scroll down to the bottom of it, there'll be a section there that says SCS Lead Safe along the left, yep, right there. You just click on that, and that'll take you to the webpage that has all the information regarding the lead issues within the water system. And just scroll down about a third of the way, and you'll see right there where it talks about the service line replacement. And there it is, and you'll be able to download it, fill it out, and send it in. One of the things and I know that there's been some questions about the hold vision within that, and I want to address that really quick. Because, the intent behind this is not to protect the city should the contractor go in and cause damage while they're installing the new line. That's not what the intent of that hold harmless is. The the intent of the hold harmless is once we have it installed, if for some reason, the change in the pressure, because a lot of these lines we're going to be replacing, probably have the diameter, the effective diameter of about, a tenth of an inch because of the different materials that get on the sides of the pipe. So the pressure is going to change, and what that does is protect us from, should there be, because of that, damage to a line somewhere else within the home or the water heater along that, that's not something that is our responsibility. What we are protecting the resident from is only from our contractor going in there and causing damage to their home in the installation of the line. So that's what the intent is, and again, I think, if there are those residents that have issues with that, I would request that they give my office a call, and, we can talk about that through that, and, if they do have an attorney, we can talk to them about, if there's something else. But this is fairly standard boilerplate language that we actually took from other communities that are doing not identical, because I think we're going beyond what a lot of communities are doing right now. But again, it's what communities are kind of standardizing on in terms of what that hold harmless looks like.
Okay, and I did forward you the contact information for
Yes.
one such resident.
Yep.
And have you contacted her? Will you contact
I
her
will
about
do
the
that
language?
tomorrow, yes.
Okay, great,
Yep.
thank you.
Sure.
I have a question. Go ahead. I'll take him first.
Mr. Ashe,
Yeah,
can you have your mic?
once you install the water lines, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be in the lines. Should they be taking the filters off the refrigerators or filters off the lines to flush them good, or who's going to do that?
So when we have the new line, we're going to have a city employee there do the actual connection of the line to the meter. And at that point in time, they're going to actually handle the flushing of the system. So they'll work with the resident to be there and get everything taken care of.
Good, because that's where you're going to get everything plugging up in the sinks.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, the city employee actually
Exactly.
there, so it's,
And-
oh yeah, I'm sorry, Mr.
Yeah.
Erie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one more thing, going back to St. Margaret's. I didn't see this, but this came in just mid-afternoon from Wells Fargo. It'll give council a good sense of things. It was to us. Good afternoon. I've discussed this property with some of my internal partners, and releasing our lien is something we're open to considering. In order to aid in that decision process, my team members have requested written documentation from the city confirming that the list of code violations needed to bring the property into compliance is not going to be provided, and the only option that they will consider is demolition. Additionally, they'd like to have it in writing that the city will assume the cost of the demo and take possession of the property if we release our lien. Would you be able to assist me in obtaining this documentation? That's from the Wells Fargo Bank Property Management Company, which is handling this. So it does look like, and that just came in this afternoon, that they are willing to entertain releasing their lien and turning the property over to us as long as we take care of the demo.
Well, progress is being made.
It is.
That's- Okay, anything else, Matt? And I don't have anything at this point, so we will move to comments by individual council. Mr. Frederick.
Thanks, Mayor. Before I go into the library stuff, I just want to wish my mother a happy birthday. She's going to turn 95 on Friday.
Oh, wow.
And so, good long life, and still playing with the grandkids and calling us daily. So, happy birthday, Mom. We'll see you Friday. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the library. Friends of the St. Clair Shores Library are accepting gently used jewelry, scarves, purses, hats, gloves, and other accessories for their spring accessory sale in March. There is a donation bin located in the reading lounge at the library. You guys all remember they did this. They've been doing this for a couple years now. It's always a good moneymaker for them. The Selinsky Green Farmhouse Museum will host a Pisanki egg decorating event on Saturday, Feb 22 at noon. There's no charge, but participants must be St. Clair Shores residents, 7 years or older. Registration is required and can be done at the library. Spaces are limited, so the number to call is 586-771-9020, extension 1573. Are you interested in science, technology, engineering, art, and math? STEAM? John, STEAM?
Keep going.
All right.
I'm done with it.
Join the Youth Service Department of the St. Clair Shores Public Library for STEAM Stories on Saturday, March 7th from 2 to 3. Listen to a story and explore STEAM-related hands-on activities. This program is for children 6 to 10 and their adult accompanier. Registration is required and begins Saturday, Feb. 22. Registration can be done in person or by calling the library. Again, that number is 586-771-9020, extension 1573. Again, space is limited and it will fill up fast. Join the library in celebrating March is Reading Month. So as we get to March, there'll be all kinds of very cool things we'll be able to do at the library to celebrate that. So one of the things is when an item is not on the shelf, when you're looking for it, the library places that item on hold for patrons. So do you think you know how many holds the St. Clair Shores Public Library filled during 2019? Everyone is welcome to guess each time they visit the library during the month of March. To guess, fill out the guessing slip located at the CERT desk. Place it in the guessing jar located there as well. You can also add a link to the paper chain every time you check out a book during the month of March. Let's see how long we can make that chain. Links will be available at the circulation desk. And this just in, it's snowing in the library. Not really. But we have some snowy fun on Monday, March 16th from 6:30 to 7:30 in the Gilsdorf meeting room for a snowy day story time. Join us for snowy stories, shredded paper, snow play, wax paper ice skating, snowy games, and edible snowballs. Registration is not required for this free program, and that's all I have, Mayor.
So if we guess it, what do we get if we guess that? Did you say that? My fee's waived?
No, your fees keep the library open.
That's a line item in the budget.
The mayor's fees compound daily.
No, I think the Friends of the Library collect some gift certificates from local businesses, so that's the kind of thing.
Mr. Vitale.
Well, Becky gets the pictures ready that I was going to raise. I was going to mention, when it comes to approaches for the driveways of businesses, is that something that we look at and, I suppose, regulate? Chris, would that be? Well, I don't want to talk about this yet. This is while you were getting the pictures ready. So if we had a business with a driveway approach that crosses the sidewalk on the other side of this, before the sidewalk, do we have jurisdiction on that in terms of condition, quality?
We do.
Okay,
Yes.
the one at the Shores Shopping Center where the old Kroger was, what would be the truck driveway?
On the 13-mile side?
Yes.
In the
Is
back.
in terrible condition.
Okay.
I dropped some clothes off for Salvation Army, which has you using that alleyway,
Yeah.
and that approach is just crumbled to nothing. So, I know they're getting all that revenue from the Kroger lease. They should be able to maintain that approach.
We had them replace the Harper one, I think it was last year or maybe the year before already, so we'll address that one as
Yeah.
well.
It's 13 miles turn now. Okay, sorry about that, Becky. You were too quick. I had a resident approach me tonight, and I'm sorry I didn't even get his name, but he's in the audience here tonight, and I think this is an issue that Councilman Rubino had kind of been handling. This is a segment of concrete at Larchmont. It's actually where Grant transitions into Larchmont, and there's water coming up through the cement, and this was just replaced, I believe.
No, that's the street.
That's-
the middle of the street.
Oh, the middle of the street. Well, there was a segment of that I know that was replaced. Can you
We already settled that one in,
go to the next one, Becky?
that they busted up and made put the new stuff in. This happened.
Sir, we're gonna, you
won't be able
have
to
it
hear
right
it
on
'cause
the
you're not on
audience, but
mic.
let's,
But I would invite you to come up when we finish this portion of it, if there's a detail I'm missing
under
here.
audience participation.
Yeah, but, this is obviously not during a season where we're running, you can keep kind of flipping through those, Becky, where we're not running irrigation or anything like that, so this really shouldn't be coming up like through the cement like this. I don't know if we have any ground penetrating radar that can find a leaking water pipe or something like that, but is probably something we need to investigate. That's a good amount of water, you know, on a dry day.
What do you think, Chris?
I would guess there might be a water main leak underneath there.
We'll investigate.
Yeah, I think we'll have to get this investigated. Your pictures make it very obvious, so that's worth 1,000 words right there.
So we'll,
I was also going to mention something about Dollar General. I sent an email earlier this week. Hopefully, something's going to happen on that. I'll just leave that at that.
all righty, Mr. Asian.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I got a call from a gentleman, around the old 8 Mile area. They're looking for a few more patrols from the police department, and they said they never see any police officers in
Where?
that area. Old 8 Mile Road,
Across the freeway?
east of the freeway.
East.
I said, well, I'll ask. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't see the police coming in my neighborhoods either, but I'm sure they're out there.
Okay.
So if they could get a few more.
Mr. Coppola wrote it down. We'll get it to the
Okay,
chief.
great. That would be great. And the Kiwanis is looking for some help, the Shorewood Kiwanis. Harper Cruise is going to be coming, and that's the biggest fundraiser, and they're having trouble getting a hold of people from Kroger's again, kind of getting a runaround again. Like
Are they
did.
getting the runaround?
The contact person to get the okay to set up in that parking lot.
Yeah, well, I can see, Chris, that
Could be a
that may be an
different
issue
issue.
now. I mean, I don't, not hoping for an issue, but I'm hoping for construction, so it could be an issue.
Well, that's why they want to get it worked out before it is.
Okay, so, I've had contact with them. I think, Chris, have you had contact, or we still using Rachel?
Well, I'm dealing with their construction manager now. So
Could you get the contact from
I-
Kiwanis
yeah,
and get it
I
to
can
Chris,
give
and
it
then
to
we'll see?
Sharon over at Kiwanis.
Okay,
I mean, it's
sure.
their biggest fundraiser of the year.
I know.
They do a lot of good, and I'm sure there'd be room up front there, against Harper.
we're meeting on Thursday to go over some issues. I'll bring that up.
Okay.
But
Okay, great.
I did speak with them last week. Their intent is to fence off the entire site, so I'll have to see if there's something we can
Okay,
do.
well, let's see what we can do. Thank you, Chris and Mayor. And that's about it. If you could help them out, that'd be perfect.
Thank you. Ms. Rusi?
Okay, thank you. First off, we had our sign ordinance subcommittee meeting, our first one. That's Councilman Frederick, Matt, Liz, Coyo, the city planner, and myself. So we should be having some pretty frequent meetings, and we're going to be working on a couple of updates to the sign ordinance. The first one we need to tackle is to update our sign ordinance to comply with, it's a court case called Reed v. Gilbert, and we have to assess the ordinance to look at content neutrality. So we are going to be doing that, and there's still some outstanding questions we have, but we should be bringing something back to council once we're ready. And then there might be some other issues apart from that that we want to look at, maybe some more policy-based ones that we should have some discussions on, but we'll be doing the kind of piecemeal. I think we'll do the Reed v. Gilbert updates together, and then maybe assess the other issues and discuss and bring them to council as necessary. So update to councils, we did have our first meeting, we know the task at hand, and we are engaging in some research and some reading and everything so we can bring a revised ordinance forward. So we're working on that pretty diligently. A resident, I think it was the last meeting or the meeting before, brought up an issue, I think it was the last one, brought up coyotes. And I
Yes.
know administration was going to have some talks with the county and look into that. Do we have any update on the coyote situation?
Matt?
The county is definitely not in the wildlife business. So they are not, unless there is a bite or more immediate issue, going to be sending anybody out to address that issue.
Okay, is there anything we can look into further as a city about that then?
We do have the ability, having done a lot of research now into with ODNR on this and also Eagle, it it looks like, I mean, you can have them trapped and removed. So that is something that if the city wants to get into, we could hire someone to go out and trap them and remove them. There is some concern, and I haven't got, information back on this. One of the things that I was told locally that yes, we can trap, but we can't release them somewhere else. And so that's the piece that
Right.
I'm still trying to figure out.
Okay, so you're
if that's
still
accurate.
looking
Yeah.
into the
Trying.
issue, the county's not going to help, but you're still looking at other
Yeah.
alternatives
Options.
to bring back to us?
Right.
Okay, cool. Okay, and another animal question. I think you know which one. A resident on Facebook posted yesterday, which was President's Day, a situation where there was an injured or dying raccoon in proximity to her house. She called County Animal Control, and the County Animal Control refused to respond to it. And I was under the assumption that why they didn't deal with healthy wildlife, I know that from previous discussions that they do deal with wildlife that poses immediate danger to people or injured wildlife. They will respond to things like that. So I was wondering, when I raised the issue, why didn't they respond to the situation? I know our chief emailed their chief, and we were told that they didn't respond because it's important. It wasn't dangerous, even though a raccoon in daylight may be in daylight because it's rabid or because it has distemper sign, because usually they're not daylight type animals. So the fact that it was out in daylight anyway kind of suggests, I think, that there might be an issue, let alone the fact that it's obviously not doing well. But we were told that it's important to reserve on-call ACO readily available to respond, assist in emergencies. Which, is this because it was a holiday, or is there a staffing issue? Because it doesn't seem like that's the response I remember we're supposed to be receiving. I'd be interested to see what the contract says that we're paying for, because it's like, I know our fire people go and respond to, somebody fell out of a chair and they help them with the chair. Police respond to things whenever residents need help. It's not like, well, we're not going to respond to that on the off chance that there's a bank robbery going on. We're not going to, respond to grandpa falling out of his chair and helping grandpa because there could be a raging fire that just pops up and we need personnel on call for that, right? So it just seems like it's kind of weird that is this a staffing issue that just happened because it happened to be a holiday, or is this their typical response? I need more information there because we're paying a lot for this, they want us to pay more, and it doesn't seem like that's a response I remember we're supposed to be receiving, that, oh, well, they're not going to respond because they need to save their personnel for a more serious issue. When we do have a potentially rabid raccoon that's, not doing well. And now what happened was on Facebook, because people felt compelled to help out of empathy or sympathy for the animal, or to get out of the neighborhood so it's not a danger, whatever it was, because the county, who's trained to deal with these situations, refused to help. They found residents who engaged in some self-help with the situation. Whatever they did, I don't think we should have people out there handling these types of things. And that was the natural outcome of this, is the county won't help. Well, some residents came together to do, God knows what they did, but that's not a really good thing to be encouraging either, because there could be issues associated with that to the people trying with the best intentions to help out.
And let me just say that our contract is very clear that we're supposed to have a dedicated ACO. So I don't understand.
You
like
saw the response, and it
Yes,
just
yes.
seems like, and it also was plural communities. So do you have just one on-call ACO that's going to be assisting all the communities that they're under a contract paying for this type of response that should be dedicated to our community? Are they using one guy? And how many communities have contracts with them all paying out for this? And that one guy is, their type of response just opened up a lot of questions in my head about why we're not getting the type of response I was under the assumption that we were paying and contracted to receive, because we're not getting the coverage.
Right. I think they would have been on better footing if they just say, we don't handle wildlife issues.
But again, I'm not making this up. I remember it being dangerous
Yeah.
or injured. It's not, oh my God, I saw a skunk in my yard. They're not going to handle that. Oh, I think there's a raccoon getting in my garbage. We're not handling that. But if it's injured, if it's dying or something, yes, that's something they would handle. Or if it's potentially dangerous, it's a rabid, animal, they would handle that. So, now they're saying, well, it has to be dangerous, and that's not my memory when we discussed this about the type of coverage we've been receiving, let alone the fact that we were going to start prioritizing things to the point where we're not responding to things on the off chance something much worse is happening in another community. That's not the response that I think we should be paying for that our residents deserve, because like I said, then the natural offshoot is people start helping, trying to help themselves, and there could be issues associated with that too. I won't want someone getting bit because ACO said they wouldn't respond to this thing. So anyway, that's, I think that's, another resident had a question, Jefferson patching. I know that we stopped the patching because of the cold weather came, and they're going to be coming out and continuing that work. Do we know when that can begin? Because I know people have brought up a lot of concerns to me about things they've observed about. It just could be the work is in a state where it's still being done. It's not complete yet. The punch list hasn't been complete. I don't know, but what's the update on Jefferson if there is one?
If the weather is applicable in April, that's when they'll be starting.
April? Okay. And they'll be looking at the work that was already done, and we'll be looking at that and making sure the completed, finished job is to our standards.
Right,
Correct.
because I do think we have to redo a few of the items, do we not? Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I think that's the stuff that
Okay. Yes.
the places people ever bring up to my attention.
Yes.
So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Karen?
Thank you. First couple events to remind and announce. First is Pizza Palooza, which was going to be tonight, but the committee moved it to March 3rd to allow council members to be present. So the third annual Pizza Palooza is Tuesday, March 3rd, and this benefits the Relay for Life and the American Cancer Society. Doors open at 6 o'clock. Event begins at 6:30, runs till 8 with pizza tasting from 6:30 to 7:30, with pizzas being donated from many local businesses. I think they've already up to like 7 or 8 local pizzerias are donating. $8 per person, kids 12 and under, $5, includes water or pop. And that will take place at the Jefferson Middle School cafeteria and is open to the public. And so thank you, Lakeview Schools, for offering their facility for the event, and it's a great way to get the Relay for Life season kicked off for the Relay for Life of East Side. And Becky, you're going to put up the next announcement. This is on behalf of the Parade Committee. Their annual fundraising dinner is coming up, and menu's a bit changed. They're going with chicken piccata and pork tenderloin rather than a traditional spaghetti dinner in that, so $12 a person. Again, at Assumption Cultural Center, being catered by Mark York Catering. So it's always a great event, great way to kick off kind of parade season as everything starts to get ramped up for that. So that's going to be Thursday, March 19th, beginning at 4:30, running until 8 o'clock. Again, at the Assumption Cultural Center over on Martyr Road to benefit the St. Clair Shores Memorial Day Parade. So always a great event, great way to come out and help out the community there.
Nice menu.
You like that?
Yeah, that's
All right,
great.
Mayor's
Actually,
excited,
in
Mayor's
addition to
excited. That's good to see.
Yes.
All right. So next thing, since we didn't have much of an agenda, and also I'm not going to be here in 2 weeks.
Already?
I've got quite a list here, so
Oh, fantastic.
Matt, get ready.
Is your list longer than mine?
Yes, it's longer than your library announcents, Ron.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it? We talked about this before you got here, by the way. Go,
So
Mr.
first,
Karen.
last night, it drove up and down Harper and actually documented 16 different streetlights that were out. And these if they don't get reported, they're just gonna continue to be out because there's just no way for DTE to know if a light is out or not in that. So just kind of want to make the public aware that you can go to the DTE outage website, and there is a section to report streetlight outages. So if you see one on a major road, or especially in an intersection where it can be dangerous, you can turn around and report this yourself. And really all you need is what intersection it's at. And you can turn this into DTE. And actually when I've used this in the past, because even in Bryce Park, because all those lights are serviced by DTE as well, there is one light in the middle of the park in the back, very obscure, very hard to explain where it's at. I used this service to report it, and it was fixed within a few days.
Oh, great.
And that, so each time I've used this, I've seen there's a pretty quick turnaround from DTE to get out there to get them fixed. So it's at outage.dteenergy.com, or you can even just Google or Bing DTE streetlight outage, and you'll get right to the page. And if you scroll down on the DTE page, you'll find where there's a section you can report a residential streetlight outage, and then you just start clicking through the forms to enter in the information. It does ask for a name and telephone number, but that's really the only personal information they ask about who's reporting it. So I did go in this morning and did report all 16 along Harper that were in there, because actually some of them were kind of dangerous. So we had ones out at 11 mile, 12 mile, 9 mile, all over crosswalks in that. So it's important to get those reported so they can get out there to get those fixed. And along with that, one of the things I did notice was some of them that I had noticed were out that got replaced with LEDs in that. So, we went through the big project on the residential streets replacing it, but all the main streets were still the conventional lights. I don't know if we want to start talking with them about if they still have, whether their grant programs will pay part of the replacement to convert to LEDs for the major streets as well, where that might make sense. We've reduced our bill significantly since we did into the residential. We were up at 1.3 million. We're down below $1 million that we pay for streetlights a year. So if we can replace the major streets as well, get more savings, that's more money that goes to the streets, going forward. So it might be something we want to look at, maybe look at a project in the next year to start working with DTE on. And that, so that was all the stuff for street lights. Next, I think following up on your the lead line meeting info that you guys had talked about, I thought you guys did a great job. Brian did a great job, and Brian was up answering questions for an hour and literally took every question from the residents in that. So Brian Babcock did a great job at that meeting, and I think that does show the confidence to the people of that you guys are there. You're going to take all the questions that they have, try to answer them as best we can with the information that we have to get the issue resolved for them. So, so I thought that was a great job by staff and even the representatives from EGLE that were there answering the questions as well, to try to educate people about the whole project. So, thank you for doing such a great job on that. Chris, the sewer project next to City Hall, kind of what's the status on that, and are we see a completion date anytime soon? Because we're eventually going to want to pave that section first as part of the parking lot project.
The storm sewer pipe work is done. They now need to get it backfilled, and we're looking at doing some tieback repairs on the seawall that runs parallel to the canal right now. So we're in that kind of transition right now, see what that cost is so we don't have a failure afterwards.
Okay. So, this came up with beautification because we have the water pump that basically does a sprinkler system for all of City Hall. So basically by mid-May, we want that pump up and running by the time we do all the plantings, and so we're not having to manually water. So that's why we're concerned.
Yeah, and I talked to the engineers today, even with the tieback, we need that big of a machine to do the tiebacks. Maybe get this big stuff out of here and get a smaller machine in here and get it cleaned up. So I'll find out the status from the contractor and let you all know.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, John, can I go back to that lead?
Sure.
I know this probably sounds self-serving, but I'm going to say it anyways. One of the individuals there was Health and Human Services. And at the end, he said to us, or he said to me, thanks for coming. And I'm like, okay, yeah, no problem. It doesn't everybody. And his answer was, no, they don't. They don't want them to come, different communities. So I actually, that made you feel good about nothing to hide. We're here to give all the information. And I couldn't believe that he would give an answer of like, no, they don't all want us to come. So it was surprising, but I thought good for our community.
Right. Well, and it was just
It goes to your point of answering all the questions.
Right, and it was also very open dialogue.
Yes.
About what the issue is. EGLE presented, hey, here are the things people ought to really be concerned about.
Yep.
And that presentation really didn't pull any punches in there.
No.
In terms of what they're presenting, so we're trying to gloss over anything.
Right.
So I thought overall it was a great informational meeting for the residents that are affected, and I'm glad we got the service agreement signed So we could not only start with the initial 60 we're talking about, but we can even continue beyond that once those original 60 are done per the project there,
Yep.
right? Okay. So let's jump to Parks and Rec. Saw the Blossom Heath building improvements is moving along. The exterior looks almost done. Looks like they're working on interior work. I did kind of hear secondhand, we're planning an opening event in May.
I believe TIF is looking at May 16th to do a ribbon cutting. We're hoping everything will be done. I mean, we actually, since you bring it up,
What, heard as more of a, than a ribbon cutting. I heard more of a big event on the 16th that we're trying to do.
yeah, it could be. I'm not, that's probably more Henry Bowman. I know it's, I would say ribbon cutting May 16th, but it could be more than that. I
All right.
don't have all the details. But we have actually, and I was going to say, we have a number of ribbon cuttings. We haven't set dates yet. We have that. We're going to have
The Axe Memorial.
the Axe Memorial. We're putting the kind of the finishing touches on the St. Gertrude field and cleaning that all up. That'll be coming. I think both of them now are probably sometime April. I don't think there's not dates, but those are April. And actually, we need a ribbon cutting for the new
Billions.
the pavilions out at Veterans Memorial Park.
Oh, okay.
We didn't do that last year. We had a little trouble with the sod, and we wanted to get that all done, or the seed, better said.
Okay.
And so we'll have it. So there's really 4 of them coming up here in the next April, May. That one being the only one of at least the date that I'm aware of, May 16th.
Okay. And then also on that, you brought up Memorial. I took a walk through there, and along the beach, with the storms that we had that came in, we've had erosion there in the northern corner of the beach. The erosion is about 3 to 4 feet away from the walkway at this point.
Yes.
And to where there's a piece of concrete, which whatever we had to backfill for that berm, whenever that was built way back when, is actually exposed now. So I'm really concerned of people not knowingly drive on that whether that can actually withstand any type of vehicle weight with that.
It could fail.
That could fail, being that close.
I know, Matt, you were working on a number of items over there.
Yeah, and HRC was looking at that, and that's actually going to be an item on our meeting on the 21st to talk about what the different options are to keep that solidified so it doesn't fail. But I'm not sure. I don't remember HRC saying there should be any limitations right now.
Well,
We'll look at it.
they may have been thinking of regular vehicle traffic, but when we go out to do the nautical cleanup on May 17th, we've got a full tractor that goes, full
Gotcha.
front end loader that goes out there. More than just a regular truck or a regular car going out there, right?
Yeah.
And they would use that path because they'd be going back in order to dump debris back at a dumpster across the street. So that's kind of where my concern is
Sure.
of, with that being so close and that drop off right there, I don't see how that could really withstand any type of weight like that. Especially with a front end loader that would be full
Yep, we'll look at it.
in that, so, okay. So went to Planning Commission, this past week. They did pass the, recommendation onto us for the zoning ordinance amendment to, basically give the zoning board the ability to grant up to 5 years of variance for the sale of outdoor, seasonal products. The only thing that came up in there, to kind of pass along is, they did include or staff included a definition of seasonal products, but it included things like antifreeze and rock salt, which wasn't the intent because we put in March 1st to November 30th as a part of the time when they could be doing the outdoor sale, where you're not going to be doing that
Stock up.
at that time, right?
Stock up for the winter.
So it was, I think they just pulled the generic definition of seasonal products, but it doesn't really fit with what the intent of that ordinance was. And so I asked Liz to kind of, if she could clean that up before bringing it to council on May 2nd. Because looking at the zoning board of appeals for March, or not, bringing here March 2nd, the zoning board of appeals meeting on March 5th has 4 businesses coming in looking for that their annual variance, that I'd like to have that 5-year option be available for them by that meeting.
Sure.
And there are typical, both ACEs,
Right.
Ninos and Vivianos are all coming in. So they're all of our standard businesses coming in. And one other part of their discussion as well was, well, what a new business coming in, could they get 5 years as well? And it's like, well, it's up to zoning board. It'd be their decision. Staff could still make a recommendation for any brand new business coming in, still giving them the 1 year, see how they go, see how they operate, and they can come back for the 5 years after that. But that'd be part of a staff recommendation to zoning and not really try to tweak the ordinance even more, trying to create in different stipulations in there. Just leave it up to the zoning board and use their best judgment, as they've done in the past. And Matt, you and I talked about the budget software you guys were working on earlier, so that's good to see that we're implementing a budget software instead of just trying to still do it through a spreadsheet, so that's good to see. And saw from the state as part of the road projects going forward, as part of this big state bond proposal they have out there, they do have I-94 construction down in 2021, not this summer, but the following summer, from 8 mile to 11 mile. And I don't know how that fits with whatever we had planned with Harper, because we definitely don't want to be doing anything on Harper when they're going to be basically shutting down 94. And that, so that's something, make sure we get coordinated with the county. If they ever plan to do any work on Harper in the next 2 years,
Well,
that's not during that time.
we're expecting it this year, about 8 to 10, so.
Okay.
And we're working on getting that out to bid, right, Mr. Reyes? We are working on that.
Or the county's working on that.
Yeah, we're working
Right,
in conjunction with them.
Right, yep. So, all right, and last, want to congratulate Aiden Bolt, who is a Lakeview junior, who there's a nice article about his accomplishments in the Sentinel that's coming out this week. But as a Lakeview swimmer, not only did he win the county meet in both the 200-yard and 500-yard freestyle, but he set a county record in the 200-yard freestyle as a junior at Lakeview. And he talks in the article about all of his ambitions of he's breaking every county record next year. He's going for state finals. He's going for state wins and that. So that's good to see. And when I saw what his time was for the 500 compared to what mine was when I was his age, yeah, he's a heck of a lot better.
What was, do you remember his time?
What's that?
Do you remember his time?
440.
440?
440, 500.
That's insane.
I did that
fast.
event
Super
in
fast.
high school and college, and I would never dream of being 440.
No.
And that, so, amazing kid. And that's the end of my list.
Thank you.
See you in a month.
All right, enjoy. Item 5, city manager's report. Everything?
Just have one item. Following up on the successful town halls we had on the lead issue within the water, we're going to be scheduling on March 26th of this year a meeting for high water. And we're going to be having representatives from the Army Corps of Engineers as well as the county, County Emergency Management, County Highway Department, a number of other departments coming in to go over what's going on, what to expect, what can be done within the city for our residents during the upcoming high water season that we are expecting. Also with that, we're going to be probably within the next few weeks debuting a page on the website that, again, very similar to our lead safe page, a lot of information, how-tos, what people should be doing, information they should be collecting if there's any damage, all those different things, so people will have one place to go to get that information. And that's going to be, I believe, we're looking at the senior center on the 26th at 7 p.m.
Thank you. Item 9, audience participation. Seeing none, we'll go to mayor's comments. Just 3 quick comments. I'll piggyback along. We've got sand in locations. You can get sandbags over at DPW after hours. We have right mat sandbags over at Civic Arena that make sure we have ample supply at Civic Arena for after hours. And again, the forecast looks like the water's going to be higher than last year. At least that's, at this point, that's what the Army Corps has said. So we need people to prepare. And again, we're having that forum. So I think that's, we're trying to get ahead of it, but you can get sand, you can get out there and you can we'll give you the sand, we'll give you sandbags. If your whole street down the road here is going to do work, we'll drop you off sand and drop you off some bags. So we're trying to get ahead of it, and it's important. It appears to be going to be a tough year here regarding water. Second item was, Mary, voting, right? We got an election coming up. Just a brief overview.
March 10th is Election Day. If you need, anyone can vote by an absentee ballot. There is an application on the website. If you're unsure if you applied for a ballot, you can always go to www.michigan.gov/vote. Please make sure if you're returning your absentee ballot by mail, you give it 7 days. As always, voters can utilize a drop box in front of City Hall or walk into the clerk's office. Absentee ballot is running higher. We're at 8,328 as of this morning, which is an all-time high. In the last 20 years that I've been here as clerk for absentee voting, all 23 polling places are open on Election Day. Voters have to remember for the March 10th primary, you have to pick a party or pick no party if you would just like to vote on the proposals. It's a closed primary in Michigan, which was established by our state legislature. So it's not the poll workers' fault you have to pick a party or not to vote. And if you're interested in working the polls, we're looking for poll workers still for this coming election. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And then the last item is the Hall of Fame, the induction. We didn't have one last year, and we're probably going to keep that going. It'll be every 2 years, so this year is the year 2020. Again, this Hall of Fame dinner will be Sunday, March 8th, between 1 and 4 p.m. at Blossom Heath. Again, Sunday, March 8th at Blossom Heath, between 1 and 4. Admission is $35. It's a lovely dinner, beer and wine. So come out for a nice afternoon to see a number of individuals inducted. If you have been maybe inducted in the past or enjoyed it before, please continue to support this. It's a great event, and it's as I already said, it's a great dinner. And I will give you the 5 inductees. One is Greg Essler, many years here, but induction would be based on his being the coach at Lakeshore when they won the state title. Don Frederick, Ron's brother, many years at Southlake.
Yep.
Dave Grouser, another Lakeshore graduate, and then played basketball, I believe, at CMU, and I believe had a little stint for the Detroit Pistons. Cynthia Lambert, a Lakeview grad, who became beat writer for the Detroit Red Wings in the 90s, and has now written a book. So she's an inductee in the St. Clair Shores 1980 Pony All-Star Team. We see now quite often on ESPN, gosh, I think, May, Little League World Series, that has become popular there in Maryland, and that championship. Well, back in 1980, not that maybe Little League wasn't popular either, but 1980 pony baseball was big. You've been involved, right, Ron, in pony,
Yep.
and that, and these individuals for the 1980 Pony All-Star Team made it to the championship here from the Great Lakes region. So they didn't win, but what an accomplishment to make the World Series there in 1980. And I think there was 13 individuals on the team. And I think it's either 12 or 13, or all of them are coming. So that's great. So again, 4 individuals, 1 team, Sunday, March 8th, 1 to 4 at Blossom Heath. So come out for that Hall of Fame. You won't probably see it until 2022, the next time. And with that, we'll request to go into closed session as permitted by State Statute 15.268, Section 8E, Miller Marine versus City of St. Clair Shores, and Harper Management LLC versus the City of St. Clair Shores.
Move to go into closed session.
Support.
That motion has been made by Mr. Kieran, supported by Mr. Frederick. Roll call. Vote, Mary.
Councilman Kieran.
Aye.
Councilmember Frederick.
Aye.
Councilmember Rusi.
Aye.
Councilmember Vitale,
Aye.
Councilmember Asha,
Aye.
Mayor Walby.
Aye. Good night.